Oh my God.
That was a pretty good one.
Oh my God.
That felt like an old school one.
That felt old school. I like that.
Fuck, we talked about the Antichrist.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
You just my mind just started watering.
That's what I like. That's the kind of conversations I like the most. So tell me all about your head.
So, what do you think would work besides doing like a pour for the head?
The easiest thing that I could think of, that if I had zero budget, if I had or there is no such thing as zero budget. I'm sorry, because if you do, then you can't have ideas. You can have concepts, but not ideas. So what I would do is I would get a styrofoam head. You can get them for like $5 or $6 at Hobby Lobby. And I would paint liquid latex over it or something kind of similar. Any kind of paint has the opportunity to eat it away, which is good for the effect of making it like a zombie head, but not good for the effect of making it look like skin, or it was skin, whatever. So you want to look real before you start chewing it away.
You need something that essentially can be run with, and like you're gonna have somebody moving fast.
It needs
for
to
the
be
close-up
light.
shots. Like we'd have to figure out like how to put my head in a couch or something like
Done.
that. I
Yeah.
think that'd be pretty easy. And then
Couch is more difficult than you think. But
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And then we would need like the close-up shots. Like in my head, I have
most of them have to be.
So for the strip club scene, I like who's the guy that did like Hot Fuzz and
Edgar Wright.
yeah, I have a very Edgar Wright thing in my head for the
Can I give a suggestion then?
Yes.
As a producer type of mindset?
yes.
That shit needs to be hammered the fuck out. He literally edits before he shoots. He says it is going to start here, it's going to end here, and then we'll shoot it leading into it and after. But he knows exactly where it's gonna start and end.
I can literally
That's why they're so
build.
good.
I can build everything in SketchUp, and I can literally show exactly what I want the camera to be doing
Yeah.
at exactly the time.
Done.
Down to a fraction of for the angle.
Yeah. For those just joining us, we're talking about our movie, and I'm just going to end it there. John, keep going, because I think this is funnier that they don't know.
Oh, they don't get to know. A lot of them know. Some of them know. Most of them.
I was going to say, and anyone who's listening to this, all six of you, we're actually getting like listeners though.
Yeah. So what's going on with that? Like I threw it your way, and I was like, "Wow, these numbers are really high for us." Only showing it to a group of people.
Well, we're only advertising it to a group of people.
So who are these? Like we've had like thousands of impressions, which is pretty impressive
For not doing anything.
for not doing anything.
So we are getting in this at a remarkably good time if you want this to go big, because YouTube is putting like all their eggs in a basket for podcasting, because they know long form content is the way of the future, and short form's going to die out very soon. So they're trying to get in on the whole podcasting thing, which we're seeing some of that in my actual work stuff too. Like when we do the work stuff down here and do our podcast, our video podcast. But sorry, I am trying to find the analytics to our videos. I sent you a bunch, right?
you did.
I did. I'll just look at those real quick. So, but YouTube is putting all this money into podcasting. So, YouTube algorithm will put what it thinks
It needs
is
a better.
the
Like
best.
if it really wants to do that, it needs a better player.
Yeah, no,
Player's awful, and
that-
I'm not going to pay for YouTube Red.
See, I do. They changed the name to it. It's called Premium. But I actually love it.
They really went out there to figure out what it should be called.
Yeah, I know. But the reason I do it is that if you pay for a subscription, because my fear was, well, now I'm the people I'm watching aren't getting ad revenue for watching commercials, because that's how people make money on YouTube, is how many like commercials are at the beginning, in the middle, things like that, and then your actual watch time. Like if you actually watch parts of the commercials, and Actually, there's a lot of more things in there too. Like if you just start a video, and let's say the video is a half an hour long, if you just watch a couple minutes of it, you're not that YouTube does not count that as a view. You have to watch it for a certain percentage and like past like 3 minutes or something like that. Then it counts it as a view. Then it counts it as this, that, and the other thing. But our analytics are people starting it and then immediately turning it off. So yeah,
probably because it's not video.
We are, yeah, that's a big thing. Is we are getting thousands of impressions, but we're only getting like 40 views, and most of the views tipper off right at the beginning, like in the first few seconds, and then the next percentage of views tipper off in the first minute, and then like the next one in the next 2 minutes, and the next one's like at 30 minutes. So, but I pay for the premium because the videos I watch, those people make more money than if I was just watching the commercials, which I thought was really cool.
How much is premium?
$15 a month. I canceled literally 3 other things. So not to afford it, but to be like, okay, this was $10 a month. This was 15. This was 15. I'll cancel all those. I'll jump on this one that I actually believe in and I actually like work with every day.
I feel like I need to kind
Plus,
of mix and match. Yeah, I hate commercials too. I need to mix and match what I got. Like I don't feel like there's anything worth watching on Disney now, and I should probably drop it. But like Hulu, I found some neat stuff on Hulu.
Yeah.
I really want to watch the thing about the spicy Cheetos.
Oh, dude,
don't tell me anything because I'm gonna be watching it with Heather.
Okay.
We watched like the first 5 minutes, and it looks awesome.
I got sick this weekend. Not sick, but like my body was feeling like shit. So I literally just watched shit all weekend. I watched a lot of stuff.
I hammered through all of Black Mirror.
Ooh,
Like
only watched the first episode.
I watched all of it. I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning so I can watch stuff.
Tell me one thing. I just want to know one thing.
Yeah.
The first episode of the new season.
I don't.
Hold on.
Which one is the first episode? Because the way that they play it, I don't know if I'm watching the first or the last. They're all one-off, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was getting into. Does it connect anywhere else? Because the first episode was it was called something 79. It happened in 1979 with the demon.
Yep.
I loved it.
I did too.
But
that was so much fun.
It did not feel like fucking Black Mirror. So
nope. I was going to bring that up as well.
So the worst part about the episode was I was trying to connect it to other things. I'm like, well, what if it does this? What if it does? So I wasn't enjoying it as much. And literally every single other episode of previous seasons have to do with technology.
Yeah, it's super high tech. And I was trying to explain it to Heather. Like, it's like, it's essentially it's Twilight Zone, but it's like a sci-fi Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but
kind of like,
but
always tied. It's always tied to some sort of modern or near super soon to be modern technology.
Correct.
Yeah, and that first one, it wasn't.
There was nothing.
It wasn't.
Does it? Okay, so that's my only question. I don't want to know any like spoilers or anything like that. But does it connect back? Because if it doesn't, losing a lot of faith in the series.
That one was the most, but a lot of them aren't like super heavy technology.
Really?
Yeah.
Then just call it something else. Because that one literally felt like it was a movie script, and like, do you know the story behind the Hellraiser movies?
No.
Okay, so Hellraiser 1 through 4, 1 and 2 were fucking great. 3 is like, okay, cool. There's a lot of them on Earth, and you're stalking people. 4 is in space, as they go.
As all slashers should progress, it always eventually ends up in space.
But 5 through 9 are literally other scripts that were kind of slightly reworked to be a Hellraiser story.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Because the company that owns Hellraiser, they'll lose the IP, they'll lose the trademark to keep making them if they don't make a new one every X amount of years.
It's the same thing with Sony and Spider-Man?
Yes. Yeah. So what they do is they buy these really shitty detective scripts And then they add Hellraiser in at the very end.
And then there's a Cinnabon.
Yeah, right.
A Cinnabon.
Ooh.
That's totally. If Cinnabon. Well, Cinnabon's got
Fat Razor.
Fat Razor. Well, Cinnabon's now famous. It didn't do very good because of the shit. Who's that one guy? The one who looked like a fat baby, the comedian that made fun of Cinnabons.
Oh, I don't know.
And they ended up taking a hit. Oh shit.
Not Patton.
No.
I was gonna say like.
But then it ended
He
up
got
being
shit for the KFC joke.
He did. A failure pile and a sadness bowl.
Oh my god, I love those. They're the best. I joke
Jim
about them for
Gaffigan.
years.
It was Jim Gaffigan.
Oh. Yeah, I know what joke.
Or no,
you're talking
wait.
about.
He's Hot Pocket.
No,
He's Hot Pocket.
He did a Cinnabon one.
No, the Cinnabon was Louis C.K. It's like I flew, I landed. I could have gone home and eaten food, but I ate at a Cinnabon.
Yeah, no, that is the joke. But Jim Gaffigan does have a Cinnabon gag too.
Cinnabon ended up. I know.
Good podcasting.
But then
arguing.
Then they ended up because of Better Call Saul. Because of like a one-off liner towards the end of Breaking Bad was, if everything works out, I'll be working at a Cinnabon in Omaha. And like
Holy shit, I never connected that before.
That's how Better Call Saul starts, with him being
in
manager.
The black and white, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
a manager at a Cinnabon. But yeah, the Cinnabons and the Cinnabites. Oh my god, can you imagine like it's almost like a donut
Cinnabites.
hole? Yeah, Cinnabite.
Yeah,
That could be like
there's just like little.
the fat guy with the bitey teeth is always my favorite Cinnabite.
That's Butterball.
Butterball.
Yeah,
He's my jam.
mine was always Chatter.
I bet he's the most delicious of all of them. Wait, no, the one I'm talking about is the teeth one. Wasn't he fat with the
That's
teeth?
Chatter. No. Chatter was super thin, but he had his like lips peeled back, and he was like.
Yeah. That was my favorite one.
Butterball was the one with the tiny little black circle eyes.
You're right.
And he was just like a big fucking ball.
Big old
he was like a
chonker.
Butterball. Yeah.
Well, I like both
And
of those
then
guys.
female, which I always thought was really kind of sexist, and I should have known Clive Barker was gay then.
He's like, whatever those things are.
Pinhead, Chatterbox, Butterball,
Female. Whatever. Woman. Make her look like a dude.
Oh, that's Michelangelo was famous. Like he hated women, fucking hated women. Like he was like as gay as they come, but like apparently like turbo gay, like manly gay. But he hated
Gold Star.
Old Star.
Gold Star. You ever heard like if somebody's Gold Star gay?
No, I've never
Like,
heard that term.
You Gold Star if you've never touched a vagina.
Oh,
So like if you were
gotcha.
born like so if you never had sex, didn't do anything with a girl, and on top of that, if you were a C-section, then you had never touched one ever.
Oh, that's a Gold Star.
Gold Star.
Not
to be mistaken with World Star
or Home Star.
or Home Star Runner.
There's also a theory out there that if you turn 30 and you are a virgin, you get magical powers.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the punchline.
No, that's it. Some people actually believe it.
Oh,
And
wait, do they?
There's actually movies about it. Anyway, so
what do you think the
fuck are we
superpowers
talking
would
about?
be?
Social interaction. I mean, that's kind of rude of me to say just because you're a virgin at 30, like you can't socialize. That's pretty shitty.
I don't.
Levitation of the remote.
Maybe.
That's it. Just the remote, not your phone.
Oh God.
Fuck, if I had that power, dude. I have a new superpower wish.
Do you?
By the way,
Is this well thought out, or you just come?
this
up
is
with
actually well thought out. This is
Okay.
actually something I've been thinking about for a while. As long as I can remember, like everyone's always been asked, like, what's your favorite superpower? Like, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And obviously, the best answer is, to grow your fingernails really long. But as a joke, for a long time, my superpower was to be able to put the USB in the right way on the first time, not the third. Why is
it always
So
three?
it's always the third. But my real superpower that I've wanted since I was like a kid was to be able to communicate with animals. And I remember I chose the wording very specifically because I've always been into the monkey's paw. I've always loved the idea of the monkey's paw. Like
you're gonna lose something by asking for something.
Like you wish for something, but something bad's gonna happen because of it. So I never wanted to talk to animals. I never wanted them to talk to me. I wanted to communicate with them. Okay, so that was like my wording. But just recently, I've decided if I could have a superpower, it would be to not need to sleep. That's it. Like there's no punchline. It's just I feel like I'm wasting my life by sleeping. Now I love sleeping, dude. It is peaceful. It is great.
It's painful.
It is. Well, not only like physically painful for me, like my back always hurts.
Yeah, my back hurts too.
But like I go to sleep every night. Like it takes me like 2 or 3 hours to actually go to sleep. I can't just like lay in bed and go to sleep. My brain is always, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck up and do something. You know, all those shit that you have to do. You know, that movie script that you have to fucking work on. You know, that other project that you want to do, all this other shit. Fucking do something. Just get up. You're awake right now. And then I'll just sit there going, well, I should really go to sleep because I got to be up at 6. I wish I didn't have to sleep. Have to. I wish I didn't need to. But about you?
I mean, as far as sleep goes, I love sleeping early. I will gladly go to bed at 8 so I can wake up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, fucking A, right?
I love that. Oh, man, staying up late is the worst. But, man, waking up early is amazing because nobody's awake. Like, you can get so much stuff done because there's so many people that are going to stay awake.
Yeah.
But nobody's, like, waking up at 3 and, like, drinking coffee. I can do whatever I want.
You and Andrew,
whatever
man.
John wants day.
Yeah.
In the morning.
I watched an awesome documentary years ago. It was on YouTube about people who wake up from 3 to 4. Like they will go out of their house from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. and then possibly a little bit later. But they said typically people start waking up in between 4 and 5. So like you start seeing houses come on and cars start revving up and they're like, fuck it, we want to go home. So like, there is like this underground culture of people who like thrive to be awake.
So
from 3 to 4.
Okay. So before like electric lights and everything, that's how humans were.
Yeah.
Like you got to remember, we evolved from animals that were awake just like cats. Animals that were awake just at like sunrise and animals that are awake just at sunset.
Yeah.
Because they're called twilight animals. There's animals whose eyes are adjusted for the sun.
Right.
There's animals whose eyes are adjusted for the nighttime. And there's animals whose eyes are adjusted for just when the sun's going up and just when the sun's going down. Because it's the most difficult time, like cats.
Yeah.
But humans, we were close to that. We ended up being, daytime dwellers. But like during medieval times, everybody was awake in between like 1 and 3. That's what was normal. That's why you had like bedpans. That's why you had like all sorts of things. People were they slept in 2s.
In 2s? What is
yeah,
that?
You would sleep, then you'd wake up for a little while, and then you'd sleep again.
God, that sounds miserable.
It is a normal human circadian rhythm.
Circadian. I was trying to think of the word. I thought cicada.
What is it? What is it? I think it's probably like, I think around like 2 o'clock. It might be like sleeping like 2 to 3 p.m. It was like the kind of like the first breakup, and then you wake up and then you sleep again.
I'm terrified of taking naps.
When naps turn into sleeps?
Oh, no, I'm just terrified of wasting the day. Like, literally, I could sit on the couch for half an hour, take a nap, and I will be angry with myself the rest of the day.
Yeah, sometimes
you
got to recharge your batteries.
Sometimes it just happens, but it's like, man, I'm always pissed at myself.
Who's going to be mad at you? Just
me,
you?
Me. It's my fear of failure. And if I don't do enough, I feel like I fail.
I'm sure you could get something like a Captain Spears thing from this. Captain Spears from Band of Brothers.
God, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
The key to becoming a good soldier is realizing that you're already dead. All war depends on it. Just know that you're already a failure, Jay.
See,
it doesn't matter whether you're good or bad. You've already failed, or you could say you've already achieved. I mean, think about it. Like we're like evolved monkeys that is space come alive, flying through outer space on just a thin piece of nothing. Like you've already kind of won just being here. But then, some other assholes want to say, oh, well, you got to do all this other stuff.
Well, now, I don't hold my values to other people. I hold my values to myself. Do I feel accomplished by doing it?
What do you feel about
worthy?
other people who nap? Do you think they're lazy pieces of shit?
Oh, God, not at all.
Then why do you do it for yourself?
I don't like it. I think by people going out and running outside in the summer, I'll jog in the fucking winter and the fall. I'm happy with that, dude. I love going outside when it's brisk, but in the summer when people are outside having barbecues and shit, I'm not mad at them. I just don't want to do it. I don't look at them and go, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" I just say, "That's not what I want to do." It has nothing to do with my feelings toward other people. It's to myself.
Why don't you cut yourself some slack?
Some slacks?
Yeah, cut yourself some slack.
I don't want to. I'll just buy pants.
Do you call pants slacks?
No, God, no.
God, you're so difficult to talk to sometimes. I envy people who don't know you.
What was that? There's a John Cleese line. It's I think it's I envy all the people who have not met you yet. Oh God.
So this is my week. We gotta talk about a
week.
thing. We should talk about a light topic.
Let's talk about
something
lights.
light, something easy, something brisk.
Something very brisk.
Brisk, baby.
Brisks.
Brisk?
Like brisk teas. Brisk. Okay.
Let's talk about something easy like religion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that works out.
Okay.
That'll work. So as far as let's see. So the way that we've been doing this so far has been somewhat of a show and tell type of show.
So show me you're circumcised.
So I can. Isn't that weird that, there's a whole bunch of people that want to protect children, but the first thing they do to children is chop off part of their tallywhackers? We got to do it for the children.
Goddamn Democrats are eating those fucking circumcised baby goddamn dick tips.
That's just chewing gum for the liberal elites. Wrigley spearmint gum was really Catholic circumcisions.
Catholics. Yep. Let's open up the fucking Band-Aid on this one and just rip in.
So, you don't really. I don't know. I will talk about my journey.
Yeah.
And please feel free to interject at any moment.
Okay.
I'll try and make this as easy as possible. So, I was raised Catholic, and I think a lot of people who were Catholic will all say I was raised Catholic, but no longer.
There's definitely a comma in there.
There's always a comma when you always say I was raised Catholic. My family was too poor to do all the Catholic stuff, though.
Right.
There's a class and everything you were supposed to go to. I'm pretty certain it's just because my brothers and I were just a bunch of animals. We just destroyed and broke everything. I don't even know. We were just very large locusts. We just weren't allowed in church. But we would only go into church when there was weddings or funerals, and they always would do communion. And I remember every single time communion would happen, my mom would just start bawling.
Oh, because you guys
because her boys were never confirmed and all that stuff. I remember just thinking what's up with this? And I remember just being upset. Why are you making my mom cry? Why are you doing this? This is crap.
Were you mad at the person who was asking for the communion, or were you mad at the church as a whole?
The guy who was handing out the crackers.
Okay.
I remember just thinking why is my mom upset about the cracker?
Yeah.
And it always seemed so silly to me. But my mom would always tell us stories. She went to a religious school, as did my dad. My dad went to a Catholic school. He went to St. Mary's. My dad went to St. Mary's in Chicago. He always said, I never understood why they would beat me on the knuckles with a ruler for having bad handwriting.
Yeah.
I don't understand how beating my knuckles is going to give me better handwriting. I don't think he wanted us to be in a Catholic school. I think my mom kind of was the one that was pushing for it a little bit. But she would always tell us stories. That's what I would get. I would always get all the religious stories. And I think that was always really cool. I always thought it was really interesting.
Parables? or stories from like her?
No, stories from the Bible, like parables and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like religion to me was just the stories and everything that my mom would tell, and I thought was great.
Yeah.
But I never really had a lot of experience outside of just the stories my mom told me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
She told me a bunch, and I remember a lot of them. It wasn't until there was a girl I was dating in high school whose family was incredibly religious.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it.
Very religious. I was not religious, but I was a good kid. I didn't smoke.
No, you were you were a good kid.
I didn't smoke. I didn't drink.
Yeah.
I stayed away from girls because I was terrified of them.
Which is the irony, because they were lining
Oh
up
my
to talk
God!
to you.
So I had no experience with girls.
Oh.
I had just brothers, and I had a sister, but she didn't live in the house with us.
I was gonna say she was out when you were real young.
She moved out when I was super young. So, and I never had any experience. There has not been, it's not that way anymore, but there had not been a female and immediate family member born in my family since 1949. It was all boys. My aunt,
all cousins and shit.
everybody's a boy.
No shit.
Yeah. But not,
Wow.
so there just wasn't a lot of,
Wow.
so yeah. So I was just always, very terrified around women.
Okay.
I just didn't know what to say to them. They're pretty, but, I don't know what to do.
I'm not allowed to have that.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to have chocolate.
That is the joke I was going for.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad you picked it up and I didn't come off as a misogynist. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. But I ended up dating a girl when I was in high school, and she was very religious, and she knew that I wasn't religious, and she was worried about my soul. Worried about my soul, thought that if I didn't go to church with her, I was going to go to hell. It was super important to her.
Yeah.
And I remember we ended up, she was Southern Baptist.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She was Southern Baptist.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was a little bit of a shocker the first time we went into a church. People were dancing around, they're flopping around on the ground and getting beamed in the head with the Holy Spirit, just flopping around on the ground, speaking in tongue. Oh, people were speaking in tongues and everything. And I knew nothing about this. I had no idea because I thought it was going to be like Catholic Church. And I remember just sitting there and be like, where are the stories? And when am I supposed to kneel? What the hell is going on? And everybody was so just overcome with the Holy Spirit. And it was super uncomfortable. A lot of the people were a little weird.
Yeah.
Really weird people.
Yeah.
They're nice-ish.
There at the church, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just remember thinking when everything was said and done, they were all smoking, drinking, having sex, doing drugs. And that's how I started smoking, drinking, having sex, doing drugs.
No shit.
Was because of her.
No shit.
Because she did all that stuff. And I remember thinking and I remember throwing this in her face.
Yeah.
Because, I was I don't want to do this church stuff anymore. I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm worried about your soul. And
Your
it's
everlasting soul.
I flat out told, I was I was a good kid before I met you.
Before I went to church.
Yeah, before I went to church. So that was kind of that foray into that. I do think that the pastor, his name was Rob. Rob Yonan was his name. He was a really good guy, and there were some things that he had said, and I think I did kind of feel I was more into church because of him.
Okay.
Because he seemed like a decent human. Everybody else, not very much.
Right.
And oh my God, I remember this was so embarrassing. There was the girl that I dated. Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Before or after?
No, this is in college. This is the girl that I dated when I dated Sarah in college. I remember, oh, this is so bad. Her saying something to the effect of she was Jewish.
Oh.
And I remember saying, well, what do you think of me? And I was like, well, you're going to go to hell because you're not. I said that because that's what they said.
Whoa.
And and it was just, oh my God, I don't even know why I said that. It's so stupid.
I have so many questions. I didn't know you were that
I was getting pretty religious because of that. And then then, right from college, I joined the military.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I went to church when I was in like basic training all the time and everything. And like being in the, like, there was a lot of stuff with God and stuff like that in the military.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ
yeah,
and everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
especially in the Air Force, because it's at the Air Force Academy. And the Air Force Academy is in Colorado Springs.
Ah, that's right.
And
You're talking about this.
Yeah, Colorado Springs is considered to be like the Vatican of the United States.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I mean, I was really into God and religion and all that stuff, and I did all my years in the military, and then I got out, and I remember really like still like being like, hoorah, God. This is back when I was watching Fox News all the time, and it was really important about like family values are really big, and that's just the way that I kind of felt about things.
I had no idea you were that deep in this.
I was pretty deep into it.
Holy shit.
And I remember like, oh man, there was a guy who he already had his 4-year degree, and we were talking about politics something, and I had no idea. Like I was in the military and thinking like, well, I got to be right because I was in the military and this is the way that I saw it.
Yeah.
This is what Fox News told me.
Right. Well, I mean, when you're in it, when you're in
Yeah.
the middle of it.
And we were at a party. It was at Larry's house. That was where the party was, and everybody was talking about something. And I kind of said my piece. I think it had something to do with like burning flags or something like that.
Now, you and I are both on the same mindset of it now. But what was your mindset then at that point?
So I remember. Oh man, I remember I had to talk to like a shrink when I got out of the military.
Yeah,
I was having
yeah.
a bunch of problems, and I remember talking to a shrink, and the shrink's like, well, John, what do you do if you see somebody burning a flag? And I said, you punch him in the face. And he's like, John, you can't do that. I was like, no, that's what you do. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you inflict violence on him. You're supposed to. And he was like really trying to bang into my head. You're not supposed to do that. And it just didn't register. It's like, well, no, that's what you're supposed to do. And so when we were at this party and everybody was like talking about liberal things, and I remember like, he was schooling me. He knew more. He was smarter than I was. He knew more about the topic. And I just remember just being really upset and I hated his guts because of it. Because I knew he was right.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like really embarrassed because everybody was just like, Johnny's right. And I just got super pissed and stormed off like an asshole. And I ended up, I don't know, I always just kind of thought like that's the way it was supposed to go. And then I think like the first time when like things really started to click was like I was taking history classes. I was in
When you were in Carbondale?
No, actually it was at COD.
Oh,
I was at COD and I was
forgot,
taking
yeah.
history classes, and there were things that they were talking about like the history of religion and stuff like that, and like what I was told and stuff like that didn't really like line up all that well as far as what was it? I think in particular they were talking about how the Bible was written. And they were saying that all the Bibles that they had were in Latin. After Rome fell, all the Bibles were in Latin, and
To keep people uneducated.
well,
right?
no, because when they were written, everybody spoke Latin. Like
Rome
Rome was largely a literate country.
They didn't translate it?
No, they didn't have to. Everybody spoke Latin.
Oh.
Right, but they didn't have a lot of Bibles back then.
Yeah, because it wasn't
Really a thing. So, but when Rome fell, one of the last places where you could still find people who spoke Latin but also spoke like English was in where they had all the abbeys in like Ireland and England.
Shit, I know a little about this actually. Sorry, go on. What was the name of that area before it was called Ireland and England? And like, there's actually a name for it, like the Sussex, or am I thinking of too recent?
No, I mean, I think Sussex is the name of a place there, but as far as
sorry, I'm just.
But there was abbeys there, and they talked about. I remember him saying like,
shit.
the monks would literally have to read one and write it all by hand.
Yeah.
And he was saying how, they would have to handwrite all of these books. And I remember just thinking, like, that's incredibly inefficient. Like, you could really, like, mess something up or write what you want. Like, I guess I never really, like, figured, it's like a game of telephone. And on top of that, because water was really dangerous, they knew that the reason why you always have them drinking beer is because they'd have to, like, they were pasteurizing the stuff. The drinks, and they'd just be getting loaded, just drinking beer all day.
Well, no shit, because you don't want the Black Death and
everything else. It was low octane, but they're literally drinking way more beer than they're drinking water all day and just writing stuff down. And I remember just thinking that was really, like, they never talk about that stuff. What was it? Another one.
That's a beautiful sentiment, because people get all upset about. You check me on this. Mm-hmm. Is it Walt Whitman? Or who is the guy who would, like, drink? His quote was "write drunk, edit sober."
That's Hemingway.
Hemingway. Thank you. Everyone got pissed at him for being a drunken an author. But let's talk about the people who are transcribing a religion.
Yeah, I know. An entire religion
for the rest of the world.
In the Vatican, there's all sorts of books that are, like, they're just sitting on a bunch of these books, and nobody's allowed to go in there and read and actually find out what's in there.
It's so weird.
You think I remember
want to dive into that.
There was another thing that I remember reading. You remember I was just in Iraq.
Yeah.
A war with Muslims. Like, I kind of had, like, a chip on my shoulder about Muslims at the time. And there was during the Crusades, they, this is, when they always talk about, like, having, like, the first person accounts of things, because you're getting. You're not getting it secondhand. What actually happened.
Right.
And they had one account. They literally were able to see. They read a diary of a guy on the exact same day of the Christian that was invading Constantinople when Saladin was there, and, like, saying how we were at the walls and the barbarians had bloody teeth, and there was the hordes were drying carcasses and hanging heads from the walls, and we attacked them, and they ran before us, and they had to hide behind their walls, and they're just talking about, like, how was this awful thing. And then they have the account where, like, Saladin's people were like, it was sunny today. Some people showed up. They seemed lost, and we tried to help them, and then we just kind of sent them on their way. I don't know. Like, for some stupid reason, like, I read a lot of books. I thought I paid attention in high school and everything, but, like, I think there was a lot of, like, common sense things that just didn't really jive up. And there was a lot of stuff that they're not going to teach you about, God forbid they would teach you anything, like, anti-religious in high school.
I'm kind of shocked about that, though.
In public school.
Yeah.
But and that's just, like, first of the few first things that I heard, But there's a lot of stuff. It was the history classes that really opened up the door to so many things of just the way that religion was, the way that the United States was. Yeah. And just there was a lot of stuff where I felt like I didn't get the full story, And the more I was becoming educated, the more I really started to think, like, I don't think this is real. And then, like, there became a tipping point when I just became, like, just full on atheist. I became full on atheist. I was, and I think that happened for years, and just being really pretentious about it, like an asshole.
Yeah, I think you're also backlashing against yourself too. I think the times when we're most angry is when we're most angry at ourselves.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Like, I'll yell and scream when I drop a glass, but I'm fucking angry at myself for not, catching it, or not, just fucking dropping it in the first place. Like, why did I do that to begin with? But yeah, if you're lashing out and being the prototypical hipster atheist and all, like, really indignant about it, you're just fucking angry at yourself for believing the other side for so long.
Yeah,
I get that.
But I mean, I think at that time, you had your Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens. Both of those guys were really big. Christopher Hitchens, he died several years ago from cancer, but he was, if you think like Dawkins is militant, Christopher Hitchens was
really
super militant.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff that they were saying made sense, it was very science-based. And I don't know, I started to, in the same way that I was arming myself with knowledge in other aspects of life, I was reading all this stuff to arm myself with aspects of life and like hoping to pick a fight,
Yeah.
Like I can't wait for somebody to bring this up so I can be a dickhead about it because I was a dickhead.
Do you think did you have that way of thinking before the military, or do you think the military kind of like lit that fire of like, you need to be prepared for this combat, whether that combat be physical or intellectual?
For the combat, I think I did that because when I was raised, my mom put my brothers and I in buckets. What? So Jeff was the smart one.
Okay.
Jeff was the smart one. There's no matter what any of us could do, Jeff was always going to be the smart one. Mikey was the clever one, and I was the athletic one. And we weren't like really allowed to be anything other than those things.
Jesus.
And I remember just always kind of wishing, I looked up to Jeff a lot, and I always wanted to be the smart one.
Yeah.
Or not like the smart one. I just wanted to be smart like Jeff. And
well, fucking welcome. You're one of the smartest people I know.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that, but I don't agree. I don't feel like there's a lot of people that are like really smart, just out of the box smart.
Yeah, but
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
Jeff is definitely one of those people, like really smart out of the box.
I don't think there's anything anyone does in a vacuum. I think everyone works for it. No one just is good at something. You work for it.
I think there's something to be said with if you're told you're smart, well then you've already that's a toggle that you've already checked.
Yeah, I mean you don't have to jump over that hurdle.
You've achieved it.
Yeah,
and because I was kind of either like my ma saying that I wasn't the smart one, or like football coaches making fun of me for not being smart. I don't know. I just always felt like I was dumb, and I had to like prove myself, like education wise. So I read. Like it didn't happen until way later, but when I went back to college, like I jumped in with both feet.
Yes, you did. And by the way, when you said your mom put you in buckets, my very first thing
was the bucket of death.
And I got very concerned.
I love my mom very much, and I remember I did get to ask her. By the way, if anybody out there, like while your parents are alive, ask them the questions that you're scared to ask. I 100%. I mean, I asked my ma, why did you do that? And she said, I wanted all of you to feel special, and I wanted you to be the best at something. Whether it was good or bad. Whether it was good or bad, she like
place.
It was good intentions, but the road to hell was paved with good intentions.
Yeah,
but
right,
it was good intentions nonetheless. And also with my dad, I flat out have asked my dad, why are you such an asshole? And he gave me the greatest answer. I mean, like, when you have like a dad who is like just like really as angry as my dad was, and is like at times, and you can just like blatantly just ask him, why are you such a fucking asshole all the time? Well, why are you a piece of shit asshole? He just said, John. He wasn't even mad. I think he was more impressed that I asked. He just says, John, I never claimed that I was perfect or good. I'm a person.
Well, I think we're all raised, whether raised is the wrong word. I think we all have the idea that our parents are superheroes, especially our dads.
Oh, big time. They pull splinters out without crying,
and yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember once when I was a kid, my dad cut his leg like with a chainsaw, and he just walked into the garage and like put a rag on it, and I was just in fucking awe. I was just like,
my dad cut his leg off with a chainsaw.
I mean, the story will eventually get there one day.
Yeah.
And he put it back on with some chewing gum, some Hubba Bubba.
Yeah.
some Bazooka Joe, because that shit breaks your teeth.
We're like Chainsaw Charlie.
God, you bring up a good point about the parents too. Like, talk to your parents, ask them the questions, be real with them. I think we're at an age right now where we don't have to placate our family anymore. It was really it's really odd going to see my dad's side of the family in Iowa, because I still feel like I have to play a character in their eyes. You know how like everywhere you go, you are something else, something different to someone else. Like, I'm sure at work, you're not, saying, I'm going to kick your ass with a chainsaw on my foot and put it up your butthole.
I do.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
I have the intern that sits next to me. I love to just say random shit to that dude.
Okay, but you know what I mean, right? Like the company dictates the different mask you wear. Even though the mask is translucent and showing who you really are, it's still a fucking mask. So when I go see my dad's family, I still feel really like, well, I still have to be this fucking, kid around him. I still have to be my dad's son, not having my own identity. So I think 2 times ago, I decided to say, fuck that I'm just myself.
Do they say, why are you upset?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't comment on it, but it was obvious. They're like,
How come you're not dancing like a big dumb bear?
Yeah. And I ended up I was talking to a shop owner, because that's what I do. I talk to people about how they can better their business, even though I don't know them or get paid by them. And I just started laying out a fucking laundry list of things for her to do better. And I saw, I think my dad has looked at me with pride in his eyes, but I think that was one of the first times I ever saw him really fucking proud, with something that wasn't athletics. So something that wasn't that he could help me train for. Because I did this on my own. And you just saw something in his eyes go, holy shit, you aren't just this kid anymore. And that was really fucking cool. That was a big swinging moment.
That's good.
Yeah. So but getting back on target is religion sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh shit! Where was I? I was.
So, long story short, I think religion is a beautiful thing if it helps you find yourself, if it helps you find peace and connectivity and something to connect you with the universe, with other people, yada, yada, yada. If it brings you goodness without inflicting any type of negativity toward anybody or anything else, I think it's a beautiful thing. But I'm the first person to stand up and say, fuck them. Now, if I know a lot of people who are religious, we're very religious. I have family, and Andy's whole family, and they have never once, not once, dude, in the time I've known her, never once made me feel small, never once looked down on me for not being religious. And every single time I'm there and they're going to church, they always invite me. They don't just leave and say, "Oh, he's fucking me. He's not going to go." They always invite me.
Have you ever gone?
No. Mostly because it's my history with religion is not copacetic. So I don't want to be around it anymore. I have no problem if you are religious. I love that. I love that you have that, or whoever has that. It's not my bag. Organized religion. Yes. That's my definition. I think if you find something that is just peaceful, like your own God, your own serenity, things like that, it can be just as religious as any religion. But an organized religion that doctrinates you as saying you can do something, you can't do something, that this is good, this is bad, you should pay us your money, really backhanded, real fucking double-faced bullshit, that's where I have problems. That's also why I'm really heavily enjoying the Church of Satan.
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
Tell people about that.
Okay, so I am not a Satanist, but after learning about the Church of Satan, it is wildly not anything people actually think it is. Basically, what it boils down to is they took the name of Satanists in order to start a debate with people. Yeah, is it the smartest, most academic way of doing it? No, not at all.
Do you remember all the Satan stuff from the 1990s?
The Satanic Panic.
The Satanic Panic.
Because I'm so into like underground movies and shit, very well versed in this subject.
Did you ever watch any of the documentaries about
Quite a few.
the Memphis 3?
Oh, Memphis 3. I know the name. I can't tell you details.
The West Memphis 3?
Yes.
It was three separate documentaries that were done about 10 years apart from each other.
Okay.
It's very good. I highly recommend it because it's like 30 years in the making.
Okay. Like the Up series.
Yes, exactly like the Up series.
If you guys don't know what that is, go watch the Up series. Is it revolutionary? But it's fucking cool to watch these kids from when they're 7 years old, 14 years old, 21 years old, 29. Yeah, 7 Up series. That's what it's called. Very fucking cool. Anyway, please continue. Memphis 3.
No, I was just kind of piggybacking off of, there was a time when Satanists and everything were considered to be this great, awful, evil thing. Like the woods out by Jewel, by where I grew up.
Yeah.
Like you could go out there because there was dead bodies and trees, and like everybody always had a story. There was one kid growing up, like he was like always the one that would like push that stuff. How much you want to bet that guy's in a QAnon now?
You think so?
I bet he is.
It makes a lot of sense.
So what are you doing with your Church of Satan?
Well, I'm not doing anything with the Church of Satan. I do. I guess I could say I fund them by buying mugs. I buy coffee mugs and things like that.
But they're really cool.
They have really fucking cool coffee mugs. Yeah, they're all upstairs. So the Satanic Panic, by the way, was basically like a moralistic thing brought on by the church to bring in more people to the church.
Yeah, you have to create a problem.
Yes, that's what
and
it
then
is.
give them the answer so you can make money.
Correct.
It's almost
that's
like
what it boils down to.
Like even though trans people make up less than 1% of all people in America, there are lots of people that are going to say they're ruining America.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing in the world. They're trying to turn your babies gay, and they're banning books because.
Oh my God!
Because it's going to make people gay. But here's the thing. Again, I'm pro-gun, but let me get this straight. By regulating books, it's going to stop kids from being gay and transsexual.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you don't ban guns, but banning guns won't make people not kill each other. You trying to say banning things works? I mean, it sounds like you're trying to do it.
Obviously, yeah.
Would it be it's not the book that makes them gay? Maybe they're actually gay. I don't know if that's
It's not the gun that kills people.
Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, I mean, I could go off on all fucking day on that tangent right there. So I'm gonna tell you why I chose to not align. Like I'm not like a member or anything. I just really wholeheartedly believe in their cause. So every religion has a set of rules, right? I mean, that's kind of how religions are doctrinated. That's how they're put out into the world, is they have some kind of thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not fuck your neighbor's wife unless, things like that, right? So here are the satanic tenets. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. Ugh, these fucking monsters.
Reason.
Ugh. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. Beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort science facts to fit one's beliefs.
Yeah, I like that part.
Yeah. People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm it may have caused. Every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written and spoken word. In the words of Will Wheaton, don't be a dick.
Yeah. Have you ever actually read that to somebody who's like
Yes, I have.
a super thumping Bible banger?
I had her leave. She just left.
Why? Because she didn't want to hear something from the Church of Satan?
Yeah.
She didn't hear anything?
Oh, no, I started reading them to her, and she's like, this is bullshit.
Who was it?
It's just someone in my industry.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's nice to know I'm on a blacklist.
Oh, because Satan.
Because I want to be nice to people. So, yeah, let's go down my history of religion.
To end mine real quick.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
I am no longer an atheist.
You are not.
I am no longer an atheist.
Are you an agnostic?
I would say there's two types of agnostics.
Correct.
There's the we don't know and we'll never know agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the we don't know, but I'll always continue to look agnostic. I'm probably closer to that one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
To go on my...
Yes. So where are you going?
Essentially just going with the, you have a small God thing.
Yeah.
Like my God is like his nature and all of the things that you can see scientifically.
Oh, very Shinto of you.
It is. It's nature's a real thing. There are laws governing it, and that is my God.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give a shit about any small. It doesn't care whether you eat shellfish or
wear a hat,
or whether it doesn't need money.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's my journey. Yeah, let's hear yours.
So no, I did not mean to step on your journey because I believe your journey was beautiful. But are you still trying to find quote unquote God through nature, or you just found and are?
I found an answer that I'm okay with now.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and in true scientific fashion, I'll change what I see when I observe it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Shinto is a. I mean, granted, I'm a fucking Japanese fucking nutcase. I love that shit. But Shinto was the only religion that ever kind of made sense to me.
Okay.
It pretty much dictates that nature is God, that the gods are from nature and still dwell in nature, and there are many gods. Like, the idea of one God never fucking made sense to me. One overarching thing?
Polytheism is way cooler.
It just makes more sense.
I like to think that there's like a God of this little space.
Right.
Like, for some reason, it makes me feel happier to think that there's a spirit of place.
It honestly makes me feel more connected.
Agreed.
It makes me feel like I'm not just a speck in the realm of specks. I'm not just this one dust particle on a table, and one guy is going to just like wipe it off. Literally, it is a connection to a connection to a connection to a connection. It's like fucking DNA. One strand of DNA is not going to do shit, but when you combine them, they can form anything. Mm-hmm. Okay, real fucking side note, but it's really fucking cool, and I am head over heels in love with this, by the way. Did you hear about the new way of storing data on DNA?
No.
So there is a thesis paper going around right now that's saying every year, every calendar year, we are doubling the amount of data on the planet. So like 2022, we had twice as much data as we ever had in 2021.
In human existence.
So in 2021, we had twice as much data as we had in human existence in 2020. So every year we are doubling this amount of data. And data includes, books, music, folklore, like fucking knowledge beyond knowledge, right? but a physical manifestation of that, or a digital manifestation of it. So the data is infinitely expanding, right? And you have to put that data somewhere. You have to have data farms. You have to have computer warehouses, right? So they're estimating in 30 years, there's not going to be enough space on the planet's surface to hold all the data.
Now, are you sure you're not thinking of Moore's law?
I'm not familiar with that, but this is what hold on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Moore's law. The reason why you're able to double the amount of space and data in the computing has to do with how thin we can technologically get with gold.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
No. So what they're saying is, no matter what comes next, because right now the fastest type of data storage is called NVMe. Okay, it's, you know what a solid state hard drive is?
Yes.
It's basically flash drive technology.
Mm-hmm.
And NVMe is the size of a RAM stick, like super small and thin, but it's infinitely fast. Not infinitely fast. It's 20,000 kilobytes per second, which is fucking 20,000 gig per second, and it can have up to I think 32 terabyte right now. Anyway, so.
How does this, if quantum computers become a thing, is that to take that into account? Okay.
But yeah, it can. However, you still have to have fucking data. You still have to pull information from somewhere. Like when people say the cloud, it's not a fucking cloud. It's fucking render farms out in India, right?
Yeah.
So we're running out of space. So this thesis is proposing that we need a new way of storing data that is not fucking space eating, it's not going to take over giant fucking countries worth of physical space, but also a hard drive has a normal lifespan of 4 to 5 years. Okay, so that means the hard drive needs to be copied to a new hard drive, thrown away every 4 to 5 years, every fucking hard drive, right? So how do you make something that is small and something that doesn't get thrown away right away? Something that can last a long fucking time. So they figured out how to do this with fucking DNA in water. They have a tube full of DNA particles. I don't know the actual chemical breakdown of it, but it's a tube of water, okay? And they are able to put on data onto this DNA and pull it off to reconstruct it. So right now, they're just trying to figure out how they can do it financially viable. They were able to back up a movie, a book, and a song, and it cost $70,000 to do it. So they're trying to figure out how they can do this and rectify. And this water thing, the water DNA, has a storage life of thousands of years. So 4 to 5 is fucking nothing. So imagine those seed farms they have out in Colorado, where they have all the things underneath the mountains, where they have all the seeds of every fucking plant that ever existed in case the world goes to chaos. And that's where you go.
The one in Iceland?
Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine it like that, but with every fucking book, every movie, every article, every magazine, every academic thing ever, every song ever recorded, probably the size of a pool. Everything. That's fucking mind-boggling.
You need another pool the next day.
Yeah, you do.
Or next year.
But by then, as soon as that is financially viable and it's easily accessible, then we're going to be thinking about the next thing. And truthfully told, by the time that becomes normal, we're out of this planet, man.
I am waiting. The thing that really scares the shit out of me is a solar flare, because a solar flare just erases everything. So you need to have something put on something before the next really bad solar flare hits. It just fries fries everything.
I mean, the problem with that is when it hits, it's gone. Like there is
Unless
no
it's
like
in DNA water.
unless it's in
Whose
DNA.
DNA was it?
I don't know.
Isn't that fucking crazy? There was a podcast I was listening to that said there was a woman who, it was like the woman that they used to they needed somebody's DNA to kind of encode to allow people to get the was it not malaria? It was a vaccine that everybody got.
COVID?
No,
Polio?
polio. It was a black woman,
Mm.
and like I don't think her family ever knew.
Really?
Like they didn't find out until later. But like finding out that like everybody gets injected with like some of their mother that gets constantly replicated over and over again.
That's how vaccines are made. They're made through eggs. I didn't know that. Like when they were trying to do the COVID vaccine, they said the scientists were like, they need eggs badly, like a shit ton of eggs. That's why there was like shortages of eggs everywhere because everything was going toward it.
Is that real?
I heard on NPR. I tend
thought
to
it was
lean on the side of belief.
I thought it was mRNA that they were using. So I don't know if they would need eggs. I don't know. I don't know behind it. I know it's not on QAnon or anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't read it on 8chan, so I guess it's a possibility of being.
Yeah.
I'm not on 8chan.
Yeah.
by the
Oh,
way.
this
Jesus
guy
fucking
who's
Christ.
this guy who's been studying mRNA for 40 years. He's wrong, but this plumber down the street says otherwise. So he must be right.
So let me tell you about my history with religion.
Let's hear it.
I was actually raised opposite of you. But so, okay, before I start with me, let's talk about why the decisions were made with me, and then I'll get into the decisions. So my mom was raised in a church that I'm not going to go into the story. I'm sorry. It is not my story to tell, and I should not bring her up. But I will say that she was raised in a church that did not handle religion in a good way.
Okay.
But she was raised very religious, that God had to be a part of her life and so forth and so on. My dad, while raised Christian, I don't know what sect, Iowa sect.
The Amber Gods.
The Amber Gods. He said at a very young age, he watched a homeless man walk into a church, and the priest stopped the sermon and told him to leave because he didn't belong there. And that was the deciding factor that made my dad say, fuck this. I don't want to be a part of any group that denies someone else like that.
What does he feel now?
The same way. Oh my God. He's never changed.
Okay.
So when I was born, my mom was very adamant about me finding God in my life, having something. My dad didn't want to argue. So,
It's a wise man.
yeah. So he taught me the hunting. He taught me his religion, his earth,
Earth seed.
Earth, yeah. My mom, and this is the one thing I really fucking respect about what she did, is she took me to a ton of different kinds of groups.
I love that. I think that what is it? Stephanie, the girl I dated, Stephanie, her parents did that. as
Oh,
well.
really?
Yeah.
So I loved it because I was open. My eyes were open at a very young age that people were not all one lump sum. I knew gay couples at a very young age. So I grew up thinking that's normal. It wasn't until like elementary school when someone was like, gays are wrong. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, they're fucking human beings. How can they be wrong for loving someone?
That's so and so. They gave me ice cream.
Well, I mean, as a little fat kid, yes, that is exactly what I thought. But growing up, it just like I've never been that kind of person to look down on someone for who they are. I never understood racism. I never understood bigotry or anything like this. I think because I was given the chance to meet people at a very young age and just see people, not colors or religions or hatreds. It was just people. So my mom took me to a synagogue. My mom took me to all different types of Christian Christian churches. And since she was Christian, I don't know what sect, but I think she's just Christian. She was more adamant about pushing me toward that route. But she introduced a lot of other stuff. She introduced Buddhism to me at a very young age. She introduced Zen, that's not it, Taoism. She introduced Taoism at a very young age. And she would read books to me at night and be like, does this resonate with you? And I remember it was that, and my mom was reading like religious books and The Dun Cow, which was a really cool book, and like Garfield books. So
interesting.
I was young, and I was really happy to have this kind of ability to see the world instead of being told that other things are out there.
This is your lane, and you're not going to leave.
Yeah, right.
Or I won't love you anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Which that changed with my mom as we got older. But as I grew up, I kind of realized it's I don't want to be a part of any religion that talks down to me or makes people feel bad about themselves. So I never really went toward that. And it was in high school when your girlfriend in high school and you, and I believe one of our other friends, it was like a Thursday night. We went out to this big fucking like a teen church, right? Like all these teens were everywhere.
Yeah, in Wheaton.
Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Everyone was wearing white too. Like that's what I remember. Or maybe I'm remembering it with,
I remember this.
Tainted eyes.
I remember this.
And I asked questions, and the guy in charge didn't like that. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal and think oh, I'm fucking Bruce Willis of this shit. No, it's I remember asking the guy questions because he had a sermon. He was talking to everyone, and everyone was playing music and playing games. And I asked him questions. I was I legitimately wanted to have a conversation, not question his religion, not question his beliefs, but have an honest to God conversation. And I got attacked. Every one of his friends came over and just started saying, "No, you're wrong."
Here, you should watch VeggieTales.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And I felt so fucking turned off. Nothing felt good or right about anything there. And I saw that you and your girlfriend were connected. And I never held that against you. I never thought it was negative. I just thought you found something and that's fucking great. But I can't be a part of this. I can't be here. Because I remember everything in his speech was no matter how good you try to be, you will never be good enough in the eyes of God. And I thought that was so shitty, so shallow. Who are you?
I mean, the way you would set up a cult is to have an unattainable. If you have an unattainable goal, no, he's not. They're not going to tell you it's unattainable.
No, of course not.
But if they give you a goal that is unattainable, then they're not telling you, and the only person whose fault it would be is your fault. But I can tell you how to do it. And if you fail, it's your fault, not my fault.
I've been a part of a lot of cults. You have a lot more fun as a follower, but you make a lot more money as a leader.
Yeah.
Dash Creed. So I was never under that mindset. Again, this is in my teen years. This is about when I started discovering Shintoism and really kind of looking into it, looking into the nature side of things. And it just made more sense to me. Just because I'm not a fan of going outside and being sweaty.
So what's Shintoism?
Doesn't mean I don't believe in it. Shintoism is a belief that, oh fuck, I am going to butcher this and I will send someone down the wrong path. Shintoism is a Japanese religion that I love that I look up Shinto and the first thing that pops up is a steakhouse. Shinto religion.
This is a good start.
Yeah.
I like this so far.
Let's go down this path. Shintoism is a belief that, oh fuck it, It's basically an animalistic and nature side of religion, saying that there are animal gods, there are nature gods, and that's why we are where we are, and we have to protect the gods as much as they protect us, because it's a symbiotic fucking way of life. Like, we remember the gods, we take care of nature, we make sure that we don't fucking destroy nature too much, and therefore the gods live on and create bounty for us, like rain or things like that. Yes, it does hark back to mythos and poly-religion things, and some of it sounds a little silly, but I mean, everything's harked into some kind of history, and that's fine. But again, connecting with nature felt way more true to me than anything else, especially some overarching thing in the sky, some floating spaghetti monster. It's just fucking bullshit, you know? I don't get that. I don't understand it. But connecting with something that's been here for millions of years, that I connect with.
Billions.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry. In my head I said billions, and then I literally thought of McDonald's. Welcome to Buttertown, guys.
Welcome to Buttertown.
So another thing, and I'm not going to go too much into this because people will listen to this. Shit happened to me at a very young age, and I associated it with the church because of who did it to me. And I went to therapy for a long time, from 4th grade to like 6th or 7th grade. And the only thing I can still physically remember, like really fucking remember, is I remember looking at the front grass of a churchyard and seeing hundreds of little boys dressed in white and one priest dressed in black with a red scarf. And the boys were beating the fuck out of each other. I mean, not like fighting, like literally tearing off skin and like tearing off muscle and like ripping into body cavities. And it was so fucking horrendous.
Wait, you saw this?
This is what I remember. I don't...
That's how you remember it?
That is the visual memory of what I have of the incident that happened.
Okay.
And, dude, I could draw it for you right now. I've thought about it so many goddamn times. And this was like, when I was like 5 or 6 or something. And it started manifesting in the way I would talk. And that's when my mom found out about it. And she's like, fucking cut that part of the family off. So how I view religion is literally by that feeling of seeing children torn apart, like viscerally. And yeah, I got a little too honest there.
No, that's fine.
So one of my other favorite aspects about religion is when I got to college. And I got to meet my first Jewish friend. And I got to meet my first Muslim friend. And I got to meet all these different fucking kinds of religions. And in college, there's something there that high school didn't have, is that people wanted to converse, not just talk. They wanted to have a conversation. And I thought that was really cool. So I got to talk with like black people. I got to talk with like Asian people. I got to talk with Indian people. And we got to have like real fucking conversations.
College is cool like that.
Yeah, it really is. And like, if anything, like that's what it is. It's the connection of people. That was my favorite part about college. It wasn't the classes. It wasn't anything like that. It was literally connecting with people I would have never fucking talked to otherwise, and have this kind of like open-minded connection of people that were all kind of like, well, I want to talk about this too. Well, I want to talk about this, or I want to listen to this. I want to know about this. And I think that's fucking beautiful. And when I was there,
the first real class you get is like being in the dorms.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say I learned more having my door open and in the community room than I did my first year of college. Like, combined. I learned more by those two things alone. That was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I loved having a Sikh friend and just asking questions. And not feeling like I was the white kid from the suburbs who had never seen an Indian before and wanted to poke and be like, well, tell me about your religion. No, it's like literally like, I want to know. And that was fucking cool.
That is cool.
I fucking love that. Did you have that in the military, or do you feel like that was more squashed?
No, they had that in the military.
Yeah?
I met like so many different types of people in the military.
But like
everything
openly like that, because you said earlier how like more Christian it was oriented.
I feel like the upper cadre, like the officers, were very religious. The enlisted were not, though.
No,
but like they would have events and it would kind of like be like weirdly God.
Okay.
Like God.
Okay.
God stuff. I don't know. Like I believed in it, and I still felt uncomfortable around it. But no, I mean I got to meet a lot of people. Like basic training was like there was like somebody from every single state there practically.
That's fucking cool.
Like I feel like I know America very well because of the military.
Yep.
So
I think you've had really the best of both worlds too. Actually the best of three worlds. You've had the public school and Northern Illinois. You've had the military, and then you had the more like specific academic route, which I think is different than college. College is, let's be honest, the next thing, quote unquote, we're supposed to do after high school. Okay, so you did that, then you went into the military, and then you came back and said, "Well, no, fuck this. I'm going for my master's." Not fuck this. I mean that was the plan.
Well,
the whole,
I had
whole time
to be licensed.
Yeah, I know.
needed a master's.
But you could have said, "I don't want to do this anymore." You
Yes.
could have said, "Fuck it, I'll just go work at Bob's garage or something."
Yeah, over at Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You fucking did it. You worked through it. You fucking succeeded. You came out on top. So like you've had this gamut of dude, you're Indiana Jones. Like you.
Who's short round then?
You get me a couple beers and I'll tell you when it's too late for love. But so like you've gone on all these adventures, you've learned all these things, and you've had your mind fucking open to it. And that's why you're one of the smartest people I know. Like not just because of your adventures, but because of your tenacity, because of your work ethic, your drive. You're not just gonna sit on your fucking ass and be like, well, I know this one thing and I'm good to go. No, you keep driving.
I hate willful ignorance.
Yeah.
I hate it. But anyway, keep telling your story.
Oh, okay. That's about it. I've never.
You don't feel like you've changed since college?
I've never been one to flip flop with my belief. I've never taken a religion and said, well, this is what I wholeheartedly believe in. There's nothing I wholeheartedly believe in besides my very good friends and my wife and my fucking cats. I still question my dog. I just like there's very few things I actually like will dive into the deep end of the pool and say this is right. I have questions with everything. Edgar Allan Poe had a quote that said, "Believe none of what you see and half of what none of what you hear and half of what you see."
Edgar Allan Poe said
Yeah.
that?
Look it up. It's actually debated if it's him or someone else, but he is the first one to actually write it. So I like that. I'm a big believer in questioning authority. I'm a big believer in questioning things that seem too good to be true. But I want to believe, dude, I want to believe there's aliens. I want to believe there's ghosts. My mom said she's seen ghosts multiple times, but I never have. So I can't put my faith in it. My faith is tethered, similar to yours, to what I can see and what I can feel. And that's done me a very good way of life. Like, I just believe in trying to be a good fucking person. I'm not trying to be a good person to get into some cloud. I'm being a good person because I think it's the right thing to do.
Do you feel that being a good person is subjective?
Oh, I think it's highly subjective. And I think if you don't think that, then there's something obviously wrong with how you think you're a good person.
If you believe it's subjective for other people but not for yourself.
Yes. I think it is how we view good can be radically different than someone else. And just because what you say is good, doesn't necessarily mean that is good.
Do you think that...
That's why I say I try to be a good person.
Do you feel like people's need to subjectively be good can easily be hijacked for others' gain?
I think that's the fucking way of humanity.
I don't think it's the way. I think
I think it's the way of humanity, how it's been.
I think that there are those that will rise up, and they'll do that. Speaking of that, like the Antichrist, everybody's kind of heard of like what it is.
The movie by Lars Van Trier.
Yeah.
You see Willem Dafoe's dick.
That's right. He's got like...
That's his real dick too, by the way.
It's uncomfortably large.
It's uncomfortably large. Like I saw that,
and like, just to look at,
my throat clenched.
It's like all of a sudden I just feel like something's wrong with my knee. Anyway,
ankles are bruising.
I wonder, because we know in the world in the 1930s, fascism became a thing, right? And the Great Depression had just hit. There was a lot of want and a lot of fear in the world, and it was a very... Now we see it as this place that's very rich in the probability of a person to rise up and take advantage of it.
Right.
And, and they always have the, don't let it happen again, never forget, why do we have all these films about Jewish people?
Yeah, Jewish people, movies.
Yeah, Jewish people, movies. So I always wondered why in the 90s, why people would always say, never forget, and you had all these movies coming, right, and you'd always like think to yourself, like, how could anybody forget like the Holocaust?
Yeah.
How could anybody forget that? How, like, let alone these yahoos that say that it never happened. But like, I always wondered, like, why would they keep saying that? But now that we've had, this awful financial crisis that ended up hitting us, and the world like took another really, really bad hit, it's almost like the soil now became fertile for now that we see a lot of these, I don't want to call them fascists because people can make their argument around saying, well, it's not fascism, but you can say there are a lot of authoritarian figures that are popping up all over the world. And I wonder, when I was talking about when the Bible was retranslated and people would write things over and over again, like, that obviously the idea of the Antichrist popped in there for a reason. And I wonder, did that happen because this cycle of people looking towards a strong figure and rising up and really causing like just suffering and grief as this cyclical thing that's been going on as long as humans have been humans. And it just makes me wonder, like, what that really is. Is the Antichrist like an archetype that just arises when things go sour?
Go sour or need a scapegoat?
Or both. I mean, that is an apparatus in which he takes power. You have somebody that's you have to be a special kind of person to say, I have all the answers, follow me. And then on top of that, to have to say, it's these other people's fault. It's not your fault.
Right.
It's the other's fault. And there's always the other. And it's just an easy one. If you were malicious and you wanted to take power and you just know, like, this is all I have to do, now I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And you're the mindset to do that.
Yeah.
Because it works. We have
thousands of years of proof.
Yeah, we have a shit ton of proof of how to like almost like our monkey brains are just wired to just follow. And
why do you think that is? I think
why do the monkey brains follow?
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's like if there are times, if there's like a drought or a famine, or if something's happening.
Right.
I wonder if, like, in the same way you would scruff a cat to just how it just shuts down and does kind of what it's told or locks up, or the way that you would yell at a dog. And then a hierarchy is just immediately established. If times get bad enough, people just follow. And maybe that's an evolutionary thing, that in the history of humans, instead of everybody just fighting for themselves, everybody just followed one, and we're related to the people that shut the fuck up and followed one person. And that tends to be the authoritarian person is the one that would do it, and they would drag you out of it. But like, now that society is so complex, that really, really throws shit off. And then now let's go ahead and exponentiate it by mass media. Now it's, or maybe it can happen easier because of mass media.
Oh, definitely.
Like maybe this is something that only happens a few hundred years, but now that we have mass media, it's easier.
I mean,
because you've never been allowed to be this connected with this many people at one time.
Correct.
And now you're forming these groups online
with people you may have never met.
You've never met,
never will.
But you feel like you have a connection to them.
Right.
More because it's easy to connect than it is to disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just not with them,
Well, I mean, it does make it easier.
Yeah, because you can always just shut it off. Like you don't have to worry about the way that they act. Like there's probably a lot of those people are just disgusting, but like people wise are just really, really gross, and you don't want to be around them.
Agreed.
But yeah, I wonder about that. Is the Antichrist an authoritarian archetype in human history?
I mean, of course it is. I think the Antichrist is basically the puppet of who's ever in charge. I don't think there is a quote unquote Antichrist for honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's a monster that's going to come out of the ground and be like, rule the world and bad and all the Republicans are right. No, I don't think there is that. I think what it is the Antichrist is basically a fucking tool for who's ever in charge, saying we need more people when the Antichrist comes so we can fight them and win. And they're weak, and it's a fucking scapegoat. It is why does the sun come up in the morning?
You think the Antichrist is the
Hard
scapegoat?
enough. Yeah, 100%.
I disagree. I think the Antichrist is just a character, like an archetype person.
Yeah,
I think it's a real person who does damage to humans.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking of it as more of a character rather than
just a type of person.
Yeah.
That when the times are fertile for it, can arrive and fuck shit up really, really bad for everybody.
Okay, I see your stance on this now. I was referring to the Antichrist as more of a biblical idea to rally behind the pulpit, get behind church, because the Antichrist is coming.
I wonder if the Bible was trying to say that, somebody was trying to give instructions of saying like, hey, when the times are bad, somebody's going to rise up and be an ass, and you got to not follow them.
Well, I mean, that makes complete fucking sense.
But when those monks were drinking all that beer,
yeah,
it turned into something else.
Yeah, it turned into Lucifer was cast out of heaven because he was too beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But he was like really hot.
No, of course he is. I'd fuck him.
He's got, he's got Brad Pitt's face and Jesus' abs.
Whoa. Wait. Black Jesus or white Jesus?
Black Jesus.
Yeah, okay, 100%. Yeah, I'm there. Got that.
Show.
BBJ. Big Black Jesus. But which, by the way, how fucking arrogant do you have to be to believe that Jesus was white?
It was a white boy
How
with blonde hair and blue eyes.
arrogant are you?
I know. You know how many people like that? I know a lot of people that I was in the military with that are like super rah Christian and believe in like the blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus. You know damn well Jesus wouldn't be allowed in America.
Yeah.
Jesus was an Arab in the Middle East.
A Jewish Arab.
A Jewish.
Hold on. Let's go down this path. A Jewish Arab hipster. No, not hipster.
No.
Hippie.
No. Not even a hippie. He definitely would be a communist.
Well, yeah, but
He wants you to get rid of your stuff.
yeah.
It is easier for a man, or for how does the phrase go? It's easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, you trying to tell me that Jesus wouldn't be a communist?
Oh no, I definitely
He'd be a communist
agree.
for sure.
Oh, Jesus. I've read parts of the Bible, not because I wanted to, like for religious aspects. I read it because I've heard stories about some of the fucked up shit that's happened into it. And I have to quote David Cross because he says, the Bible is more D&D than any D&D book out there. It is the most made up fucking bullshit. I love that some people like live to be like 800, 900 years old. God, there are some great fucking stories. One of my favorite things about hypocrisy is men shall not lay with men because that's fucking wrong, but women can do it if a man is present. Like, you fucking asshole.
To the people who are pro or anti-abortion, have them read Psalms 137:9.
Ooh, what does that say?
Go ahead and look it up. You at home, go ahead, look it up. Psalms 137:9.
They're not. Psalms 137:9. Okay, here it is. Oh yeah, I've seen this one before. It says Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, wait. That's the first one. Okay. Happy is the one who seizes your infants and dashes them against the rocks. I agree with that statement.
Essentially, what's going on there is
Fuck your crotch goblins.
if you're supposed to take the infants from people who don't believe in God, and actually the other one that I read is and bashes their head against the rocks.
Yeah,
You're supposed to kill all non-Christian babies.
and that is where I
pro-life?
that's
Pro-life?
where
Anybody?
yeah, that's where I have issues. Not that specifically.
Now
all
one may
of
say you're just cherry picking from the Bible. Yes, I am. I wonder what it feels like.
Your doctrine. Let me.
This is
read
your
that.
book.
Yeah.
Your book. I got this out of your book.
You don't get to be Steven Spielberg and pick up any fucking book you want and think you're making a new story out of it. If you want to argue the fucking facts, let's argue the fucking facts. I'm still a little butthurt about Ready Player One, if that's not obvious.
Did you read the second book?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I didn't finish it.
Really?
It was so fucking stupid.
Well, how far did you get?
Easily halfway through.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Oh my fucking God.
It
was
gets really bad.
terrible. Jesus fucking Christ. And I read his other book, Armada, too, and I'm like, oh, you are a one-trick fucking pony. Your one trick was really good. I reread, that is one of the very few books that I actually reread multiple times. And listened to the audiobook 3 fucking times. It's a good book. It's a great book.
The second one is like reading fan fiction.
The second one is like reading fan fiction, John, just like the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. I highly recommend reading the Bobaverse, though.
Oh, that's a fucking great book. There's 4 of them, right?
4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Because the
I
ending...
I've not gotten 4 yet.
The ending of Ready Player One is just a complete ripoff of Iron Bob.
Is it?
Yep, that's exactly what happens.
Fuck that.
Yeah, so sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. I'm never gonna read it.
It's bad. I don't know anybody.
Bobaverse was really good. For the longest time, I got really into lit RPGs. It's like, basically, it's people playing online video games, and you read about them playing the game.
Oh boy, that's a rough one.
It is so bizarrely addictive, though, because you know how, like, when you play a game, the enjoyment doesn't come from the story. The enjoyment comes from you playing the game, right? Like you figuring it out, enjoying it, the time you spend playing it. You're not just looking at Metroid thinking, oh, I went down to this one thing, I got a rocket launcher, and I can open up that door. You're thinking of, well, fuck, I had to learn how to jump over that goddamn little turtle floating thing that can't be shot, but you can be frozen. I had to learn how to do that. Like, it's the journey. It's not the destination. So that's what these books are like. But my God, every fucking Yahoo who has a computer thinks he can write a book, and they're all lit RPGs. They're all from Russia for some reason. Anyway, religion.
There's something that I've been getting into because it just popped up on my YouTube feed. Is just movie recaps. Oh my God, dude! I just keep watching them. Movie recaps are really awesome because they can make any shitty movie be awesome because they're telling you the whole movie in like 15 minutes,
and they're leaving out
all the crap. Yeah. And like almost even like shitty movies are awesome. I love movie recaps.
Really?
But it ruins the movie for you.
Of course it does. Speaking of a movie that's ruined, I watched Fast and the Furious X.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I've watched 1, 2, 3, skipped all of them, then watched X. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Have you ever watched any of these movies?
I saw the first two.
Okay.
And then I never really had an urge to watch one ever again.
Oh my God.
I had somebody like break down the whole story. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's like a Korean soap opera.
It is yeah, okay, I will give you that. It's very much like a Korean soap opera. But Korean soap operas have a formula to them.
Yeah. They went in outer space.
That make you want to watch it more.
They went in outer space.
Well, you know, as
we just came full circle on this entire podcast.
We very rarely finish a full thought.